Okay, so let's just jump right in. Imagine you're looking through, official business documents. Not exactly thrilling reading for most people.
Right, definitely not beach reading.
Definitely not. And then you see something really unexpected. Kanye West, who we know legally changed his name to just Ye. Well, now he's being called Ye Ye in some filings.
Yeah, yay. And like you said, it's not just a random note. It's popping up in multiple official filings with the California Secretary of State.
Put there by his own CFO, no
Yeah.
less. Which, that's the detail from the sources that really kicks off this whole deep dive for us today.
It really does grab you because it's formal, it's business, it's not like a tweet or something casual. It makes you immediately think, okay, what is this? Another legal change, some kind of internal thing.
Exactly. And that's our mission today, really. We're
Yeah.
going to take this yay thing as our starting point and use the sources you provided to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Why do public figures change their names or use stage names?
Mm-hmm.
We'll pull out the most, interesting facts and reasons, the motivations behind it all, using Yi as a jumping off point, but looking much wider, too.
Yeah, we'll get into the specifics of this Yi mention, definitely revisit why he changed it to just Yi in the first place, his own words on that, and then zoom out, look at all the other examples the sources give us. It's quite a range.
Okay, let's start there then, the Yi detail. So the source material says it's the chief financial officer, Hussein Lalani, who used that name.
Right, in filings for some key businesses, Yuzi Apparel,
Yuzi record label.
and Oxpaha Inc.
Right. And in those papers, Yaya isn't just mentioned casually. It's listed as the manager or member.
Which sounds pretty official. It's a formal role within the company structure.
It does feel significant. But, and this is important, the source material also points out there's some ambiguity. Like, it's not actually clear if Yi himself has filed anything legally to change his name again.
Yeah, from Yi to Yi, yeah.
Exactly.
And this is where knowing a bit about the legal side, which the source touches on, helps. In California, if you want to legally change your name, you usually have to publish it.
Publish it.
Yeah, like announce it in a local newspaper before a judge even considers the petition.
Ah, okay. Like a public notice thing.
Exactly. And that's often how we find out about these changes, the fact that there's apparently no record of Yi doing that for, well, it leaves it kind of up in the air. Is it just an internal name, a plan for the future? We don't really know for sure from the source.
Right. It's a bit of a mystery for now. What the source does talk about clearly is the first change back in 2018 from Kanye West to just Ye. And looking back at that change, well, it gives us some really interesting clues about the why. Why someone so famous would make such a big shift.
Absolutely. That 2018 change, it gives us a window. The source mentions that interview he did with Big Boy on the radio around then.
Yeah, I remember that. And he talked quite a bit about the meaning behind Ye.
Yeah.
Said it had a spiritual connection for him.
He did. He explained that, well, he believed Yi is the most used word in the Bible, and that means you.
You, okay.
And the source actually quotes him explaining that connection. He said, in the Bible, it means you. So I'm you, I'm us, it's us. It went from Kanye, which means the only one, to just Yi, just being a reflection of our good, our bad, our confusion, everything.
Wow. That's quite a statement, moving from the only one to us.
Yeah.
Very symbolic.
Very. And you saw that reflected in other things he did then, according to the source, like naming his album Yi that same year.
Right. He said it was more of a reflection of who we are, that it matched the energy.
And even more recently, the source points out he talked about ditching the @Kanye West handle on X.
Because his name is Yi now.
Exactly. Said he'd start a Yi account.
Yeah.
So it shows this consistent, effort to align everything, his public image, his online stuff, with that chosen name.
So when you put all that together, you really see how a name change, especially for someone like him, can be tied so deeply to personal beliefs, maybe a different sense of identity, even spirituality.
Yeah, it's clearly not just about picking a new label, it's making a statement.
Which kind of leads to the next question, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
His reasons seem very specific to him, very personal. But is this whole thing of public figures changing names, is that common? And, what are the other reasons people do it?
That's a great transition because, as the sources make very clear, Ye is definitely not the only one. Far from it.
Right.
It's incredibly common, whether it's a legal change or just a stage name. And looking at the examples in the source material gives you a much, much broader view of all the different motivations.
So what kind of patterns do you see in those examples?
Well, one big category seems to be changes that are really personal, often connected to family.
Like who?
Like Sterling K. Brown, born Sterling Kelby Brown, who went by Kelby for a while.
What kill it?
The source says he thought Sterling sounded too old, and he wanted his own name, separate from his dad and granddad, who were also Sterling. But then his father passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the source says when he was 16, he decided to go back to Sterling, specifically to honor his dad. He said he wanted to hear that name again.
That's really powerful, a way to keep that connection.
Exactly. And you see something similar, maybe less intense, but still family-related, with Shania Twain. She was born Eileen Regina Edwards.
Eileen Edwards. Doesn't sound quite the same, does it?
Right. The source says those were her grandmother's names, and she felt she needed something less like my grandmother's name for performing. Met someone named Shania, liked it, and that became her stage name.
Interesting. What about Reese Witherspoon?
She was born Laura Jean Reese Witherspoon. She picked Reese to honor her mom. Reese was her mother's maiden name.
Ah, another family connection.
Mm-hmm. And Tina Fey, born Elizabeth Stematina Fey. She did a sort of subtle nod, naming her character on 30 Rock Liz Lemon, using part of her real name.
Okay, so that's one clear theme. Honoring family, keeping those ties.
Absolutely. It shows it's not always about creating something totally new, but sometimes about weaving your history into who you are publicly.
What else? Any other kinds of personal reasons?
Well, there are names that seem to have just kind of stuck from childhood, maybe, like Gigi Hadid.
Right, she wasn't born Gigi.
Nope, Jelena Nora Hadid. Gigi was a nickname her mom used, just an endearment. Then a teacher apparently mixed her up with another girl named Helena.
Oh.
So she told the teacher, just call me Gigi. And, well, it stuck.
That's pretty organic.
Totally. Same with Bruno Mars. Born Peter Jean Hernandez. His dad started calling him Bruno when he was really young.
Why Bruno?
Source just says his dad thought he looked more like a Bruno, and that became his name.
Okay, just a feeling.
Seems like it. And Miley Cyrus, born Destiny Hope, got the nickname Smiley because she smiled a lot. Shortened to Miley. Became her name.
Destiny Hope. Wow, that's quite a birth name, too.
It is. And one more like that, Jason Sudeikis, born Daniel Sudeikis.
You got Jason.
His middle name is Jason. His mom just started using it from the get-go to avoid confusion with his dad, who was also Daniel.
Practical family decision that just became his public identity.
Exactly. So these aren't, carefully crafted brands. They just feel like the names that evolved naturally.
Okay, so we have family ties, childhood nicknames. What about the more sort of deliberate choices? The stage names created for a reason.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the biggest category based on the sources. Names chosen for professional reasons, creating a persona, building a brand, sometimes just separating private life from public life.
Makes sense. Who falls into that category?
Well, Kat Dennings, for one. Born Catherine Victoria Litwack, she picked a stage name when she was only 9.
9. Wow.
Yeah, said she didn't think her real name should be displayed on a poster. Got inspired by a character Christina Ricci played and a friend's surname.
That's thinking ahead. What about someone like Cher?
Cher's story in the source is amazing. She apparently thought her legal first name was Sherilyn for decades.
Wait, she didn't know her name?
According to the source, nope. It was actually Cheryl. She only found out when she got her birth certificate in the late 70s because she wanted to legally change it to just Cher.
That's wild. How did that happen?
Her mom apparently blamed it on being a teenager in pain during childbirth. Just a mix-up that stuck for years.
Unbelievable. Okay, who else has a professional reason?
Shibuzi. Born Collins Obina Chibwez. His stage name came from his surname being misspelled in high school.
A typo became his name.
Yep. What started as a mistake became his artist's name. And Katy Perry Katherine Hudson originally.
Right. You mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, she released a Christian album under Katherine Hudson. But when she went pop, she became Katy Perry using her mom's maiden name, Perry, because she felt it fit better for pop fans. A clear branding choice.
Very deliberate.
Very. Same with Cardi B Belcalis Almanzar. Her sister was called Hennessy, so people started calling her Bacardi. She shortened it to Cardi B nickname turned brand. And Chapelle Roan Kaylee Rose Amstutz, the source says she sees her stage persona as a drag project, a way to create boundaries between her personal life and her performance life.
Interesting. A separation tactic.
Totally. And you see that persona creation idea a lot. Vin Diesel born Mark Vincent wanted something more explosive for an action star name.
Vin Diesel definitely sounds more explosive than Mark Vincent.
Right. Lady Gaga, Stefani Germanotta, Lana Del Rey, Elizabeth Grant. Their stage names are their personas, their alter egos almost.
Sure. And the source lists a ton of others where the stage name is just who we know them as, right?
Absolutely. Snoop Dogg, Calvin Broadus. Ricky Martin, Enrique Morales. Iggy Azalea, Amethyst Kelly. Alicia Keys. Alicia Aguilo Cook. Tom Cruise. Thomas Mapother IV. Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Anastasikis. The list goes on. Names chosen for the stage.
What about Calvin Harris? Wasn't there something specific about his name choice?
Yeah, the source mentions that. He was born Adam Richard Wiles. He apparently said he chose Calvin Harris partly because his first single sounded soulful, and he wanted a name that seemed, quote, racially ambiguous.
Wow, that's a very specific strategy.
It is. Taylor Swift later revealed his real name, but that was his initial thinking, according to the source.
Okay, are there any other reasons? Like just practical stuff?
Yeah, there are practical reasons, too. The Lawrence brothers, Joey, Matthew, Andrew.
Blossom, right?
Yeah, them. They were born Mignonia. Joey adopted his middle name, Lawrence, first. The source says a talent agent didn't like the surname Mignonia, so they all switched.
Just easier professionally.
Seems like it. And Emma Stone, born Emily Stone. She had to change her first name.
Why?
Screen Actors Guild rules. There was already an Emily Stone registered, so she became Emma.
The practicalities of show business.
Exactly. And maybe the simplest reason, Frank Ocean, born Christopher Breaux, legally changed it in 2014. His reason, according to the source.
What was it?
Just because, why not?
Huh. Fair enough. Sometimes you just want to change.
Sometimes you just do.
Okay, wow. So looking across all these examples, honoring parents, nicknames that stick, building a whole brand, just dealing with union rules, or simply, why not?
Yeah.
What's the big takeaway here?
I think the thing that really stands out is that for people in the public eye, a name is often much more than just, well, a name. It can be a tool, it can tell a story, it can be a boundary, a tribute, a statement. It really highlights how tangled up identity and history and career strategy can get.
Yeah.
And knowing the why behind the name someone uses, it adds this whole other layer to how you might see them or their work. You know, it makes you think about the narrative they're crafting, starting with the name itself.
It really does. So, okay, let's wrap this up. We started with this really specific, kind of curious detail, yay, showing up in business filings.
Right. Still a bit of a question mark there.
Still a question mark.
Yeah.
But it led us back to Ye's own very deep reasons for his earlier change to just Ye. And then we kind of branched out, explored this whole diverse world of celebrity name changes.
Yeah, covering everything from the super personal reasons, family reasons, to the very practical professional ones.
It really shows that in that world, a name isn't always fixed. It can change, evolve, and carry a lot of meaning. It's often deliberately chosen or shaped.
Absolutely. Shaped by the person to say something about who they are, or maybe who they used to be, or even who they want people to think they are.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to chew on. If identity and how you're perceived is so crucial for a public figure, what does it really mean when the name itself is something they created or changed?
Yeah, like, does changing the name fundamentally change the person? Or is it just the person deciding to change the label?
It's definitely something interesting to think about next time you hear about a celebrity and their name, isn't it?